Hello there, I'm going to do a very quick talk about and review of the new Alien role-playing game by Free League. I got this for Christmas and I'm really looking forward to playing it. I've just finished reading it today and yeah, it looks really good. So, as you would expect, it's set in the Alien cinematic world. It's got everything you'd expect on it, from xenomorphs to the weapons to otherworldly creatures as well, not just xenomorphs. Um, Even space battles between um, the ships, which you don't see in the films, but it obviously does, or probably would happen, I should say. And it seems quite simple to play as well. So the idea is you have 4 attributes, and each of these attributes have 3 skills attached to them. So, first attribute, for example, could be wits, and linked to that, you've got observation, survival, and comtech. Uh, Second attribute is empathy, which contains medical age, manipulation, and command. The third is agility, which which also has under it piloting, mobility, and range combat. And finally, strength, which is close combat, stamina, and heavy machinery. Strength also dictates your hit points as well that you start the game with. You do get talents as well, and some of these talents can adjust these scores and can adjust your hit points as well. But the idea is these skills are based on your career, and later on you can spend your experience points. If you're playing a campaign game, you can spend experience points in boosting the attributes, again talents and things like that. But the idea is you roll a number of d6s based on what score you've got for either the attribute or the skill roll, and a 6 is a pass. It's as simple as that. The GM is called Game Mother in this, and they would detect how easy this would be. So they would actually give you a plus or -2 roll, and that actually just pluses or minus how many d6 you roll. So say a 6 is a pass. Anything more than 1 6 is called a stunt. And for each 6 you get above the first, you get to choose what stunt you do. So for range combat, there's an option of stuff like an extra point of damage for each 6, or you can push them back. And so yeah, it seems very simple. The other thing you also get with this is a thing called a stress dice. So I point out you basically will just fail if you don't get a 6. But if you don't get a 6 on your first roll, then once per roll you can do a thing called a push, which you gain the stress dice for. You do also gain stress dice if you encounter something like specifically horrid or stuff like that. Anything that would push you sort of beyond your limits. And the idea of the stress dice is it actually gives you an extra d6 to roll, and a 6 on that is a pass, like the others, which you can use for stunts, etc. However, if you get a 1 on a stress dice, it is called a panic. If you get a 1 on your stress dice on your first roll, you can't then push them dice. that's your score basically, and then you've got to roll on the panic table, and the idea is you roll a d6 and you plus however many stress dice you get, and you match it to the table and it tells you what you do. So yeah, it seems really simple in that way, and it looks like quite good gameplay. There's two types of play for this game as well. So they've done a cinematic play, and the idea is that this is a one-off session. It's very fast-paced, and it actually says don't expect the characters to survive in it. It's going to push them to their limits. And there's going to be a lot of horror very fast. And it actually tells you in here about the 3 different stages of horror, and about building up the suspense and things like that. But it also does tell you about not just the world, all the planets you could go to. It's got a star map. Some of the drawings in here are absolutely amazing, but it tells you about the history of the different organisations, we'll say, and quite a lot of that will be used in not necessarily cinematic play, but the next bit, which I'm going to talk about, is they do a thing called campaign play, which is played normally over several sessions. This is where you gain XP. The idea is that there's a lot of, you'll be doing more than one mission. You will be building your characters up, you'll be investigating planets, you'll be trying to stop smugglers, you could be investigating corporate sabotage and all things like this. And the idea is you gain the experience to level up your characters, and they've broken down the game in a sense. So you get, no matter whether you play the cinematic or the campaign mode, you will get different time frames and different rules for how certain things go. So you would have a round, for instance, which is 5 to 10 seconds. That's normally used for stuff like combat. A turn is 5 to 10 minutes. That's used for a thing called stealth mode, which is you get to move about, you get to do what you want. You can sneak past a lot of stuff as long as they don't see you. And if they do end up seeing you, normally there's no rolls in a turn, but as soon as a combat starts, it will then go into a round. So movement's a lot more relaxed. And then you've got another thing called a shift, which is 5 to 10 hours. This is normally used for recovery, and this includes stuff like ship repair as well. In a sense, putting it down to like D&D type terms, it'll be the same as like taking a long rest. It's put the basic way behind it. But for each round that you have to play, say normally that's during combat, you get to choose 2 actions. So you get to choose, you have slow actions to take and you have fast actions to take, and you can either do one slow and one fast, or two fast actions. So a slow action would be to crawl along the floor. A lot of attacks are slow actions, and give orders as well are slow actions. Whereas a fast action would be to run, to draw a weapon, or you can do a thing called a block, which is a reaction, which is good, but you need to basically sacrifice your fast action to make sure you've got that block going ahead. And the idea behind that is for each 6 you get, you can negate 1 point of damage. But so you can do 2 fast actions as well. And I think that's basically all I have to say about this. So the artwork is very good. There is a little campaign in the back of this book as well about Haley's Hope. I'm trying to find some of the artwork quickly. I had marked a page to show you, but I've accidentally pulled the thing out. So for instance, you've got stuff like that with the chest buster coming out, and it looks really good. It's one of the things where my D group, nearly all of them have turned around and said that they're really looking forward to giving it a try. So in the next couple of weeks I will be trying it out with them, and I will be able to give you a better review once we've played our first session. And thank you for joining me. I'll speak to you all soon.